Hi everyone, and I'm Inez, and I'm thrilled to be here, thrilled that you're all here, welcome. So today, teams of artists will creatively debate current issues in performance art, such as the impact of performance art on civic life, individual ownership and collective public practice initiatives, and presenting controversial material to the general public. We've all been working really hard over the past few months to make this fourth experiment happen, so let's begin and have some fun.
Walker will begin the debate arguing that communities should financially support the work of their artists. And then Allie is going to argue that communities should not. Next is Tekka Lark, and then Crystal. So we'll go like that. Then we get into rebuttals, and that's the point at which audience members can come up to respond if they are interested. We're going to give you a ring the triangle, a bell when your time is up.
My name is Walker, and I'm in support of financial support for performance arts. Performance art is an art in which the medium is the artist's own body, and the artwork takes the form of actions performed by the artist. Powerful expressions of the pain of human existence, and complex allegories of social and political issues, and man's relationship to nature. Historically, the performance artist has been active within the community and as a vital force, as a town crier, actor, shaman, priest. Should we financially support them? Should the community financially support them? Yes. Blind support. Continuous. Unflinching. Financial support cannot be special interests that influence the performance artist the way that K Street influences the politician. This is a model we cannot work with. The contribution needs to be pure. The performance needs to be pure, unadulterated, and not pandering to the community. Thank you very much.
Philanthropic money. Performance artists rarely speak with the voice of the people. They largely speak from their own political ideology. Performance artists represent a very small facet of the art world, and in contribution to the general civic life, the visual fine arts are much better suited. Performance art is largely inflammatory, excessive, aggressive, unsuitable to building a positive community, covering topics that people really don't care about, like the body politic, sex and sexuality, economics from a very singular standpoint. Do performance artists provide health care? Do performance artists provide education? Do performance artists actually legislate and enforce legislation? I draw lastly from an example in Lagos, Nigeria, where the happiness quotient is extraordinarily high, and the civic life is enriched by entrepreneurial economy, where people are encouraged to start their own personal businesses, and where the fine arts and the avant-garde performance art really don't have a place. Thank you.
Dogs are allowed, but babies aren't. I don't want your babies at my art show. I don't want any women at my art show. I don't want any women at my art show that I wouldn't want to fuck. If you're old, if you're flabby, if you have cellulite, if you're fat, don't come to my art show. But dogs are okay. That poem was by me and was inspired by the Mother's Art Collective. My name is Tekka Lark, and I think performance art does contribute to the civic life of society. Because is the point of art now to show that I have nothing but all the time in the world to do nothing? Is that the point of art now? What do you guys think? For oppressed communities, performance art has been the only form of protest available. You don't need a gallery, you don't need paint, you don't need permission to perform performance art. While performance art in academic circles has often been viewed as the domain of the avant-garde, it is not the only place where it can be found. Some of the first performance artists in the U.S. were slaves. The West Africans were brought to North America to work for free as slaves. In the W.E. Du Bois book, The Soul of Black Folks, the chapter titled Sorrow Songs, he writes about the religious melodies that were created by Southern slaves and how those songs spoke of rebellion. Many of those songs were viewed as spontaneous and viewed as religious, but they weren't religious and they weren't spontaneous. Revisionist history does interesting things to people who stand up creatively. The slaves were talking about what was expected and bringing up the unexpected. Mademoiselle Bourgeois Noire, also known as Lorraine O'Grady, protested not only art exclusivity, but what was the role of the black middle class. Osto spray painted the front of LACMA as a response to being called folk art. Latinos weren't allowed to be Latino artists in a publicly funded museum that their parents' tax dollars paid for in the 1970s. If we can give Eli Broad $52 million for a garage, and South LA just gets $32 million for their whole art, then I think we have enough money to give performance artists, money so that they can perform their art. So, thank you very much.
And I don't even know why this question is part of the debate, because it's quite obvious that performance art, we just saw a little performance art, dropping stuff. People having crazy costumes, and I don't really think that the community should support that sort of stuff. I don't think that it really made a true contribution to what's happening today. In my opinion, performance art is way too self-indulgent. People do all this wackadoodle stuff, in the middle of the street, inside of a gallery, they're spitting on your face, they're doing their video projections, and it's really just for their own self-indulgent need. They're not really expressing it that much, I don't think. And I think communities don't need to spend money on that sort of stuff. I don't need to give you $1 to spit in my face, performance artists. What we need to do is, I live in Inglewood, I do a lot of work in Hollywood, so I'm up and down the Brea all day long. Our civic dollars need to go to fixing the streets in Los Angeles, for one thing. Western Avenue is too messed up. I don't need to go to Bergamot Station and be spit on. I need, better transportation. Thank you. And of course, like my partner said about healthcare, that's a huge issue. Yes, we can was the whole chant, and I think that we can't get some help